Something is moving in the dark grass. It is not large. It is not strong. It cannot roar, cannot run, cannot even see the world clearly. It weighs only about 3 pounds, no heavier than a small house cat, small enough that 2 human hands could lift it from the dust. But around this tiny body, the African night is already awake. Hyenas call beyond the thorn bushes. Insects tremble in the dry stems. The air smells of warm earth, old blood and rain that has not yet come. This is how a lion's life begins, not as a king, not as a hunter, but as a fragile cub, hidden in the grass, pressed against the body of his mother, while the Savanna decides whether he will live long enough to see the sun. His mother has carried him for nearly 4 months. Now, away from the pride, in a secret place beneath tangled cover, she gives him his first shelter. There may be 2 or 3 other cubs beside him. Small bodies, closed eyes, soft cries. Each one reaching for warmth before they understand anything else. For now their world is simple. Milk, heat, the smell of their mother, the pressure of her body between them and everything outside. But even here, there is no perfect safety. A lioness must leave to drink. She must leave to hunt. And every time she steps away, the hidden nursery becomes a gamble. A cub this young cannot defend himself from anything. Not a snake sliding through the grass. Not a leopard moving without sound. Not a clan of hyenas following the scent of birth. The first lesson of his life is not courage, it is silence. The cub must stay hidden. Still, almost invisible, his mother licks dust from his fur. Her tongue is rough, but her touch is life. It cleans him, warms him, and marks him with the scent of family. Somewhere far away, a male lion roars into the night. The sound rolls over the grass like thunder. One day, this cub may answer with a roar of his own, but not tonight. Tonight, he is only a breath in the dark, and the darkness is listening. By sunrise, the grass is no longer dark. It is gold, hot, and full of eyes. The cub is still hidden, but the world around him is moving. Hooves pass in the distance. Birds call from thorn trees. Flies gather where old blood has dried into the soil. He does not understand any of it yet, but his body understands one thing: hunger. For the first weeks of life, milk is everything. His body is his shelter, his food, his map, and his wall against the world. When she returns from hunting, the cub pushes blindly against her belly, fighting beside his siblings for a place to feed. Even here, in the softest chapter of his life, survival is a competition. A stronger cub may drink first. A weaker one may fall behind. In the wild, even brothers are born into a race they never chose. After a few weeks, his eyes open fully and the savanna begins to take shape. Light, movement, shadows. The flick of his mother's tail. The low calls of lionesses hidden nearby. By the time he is around 3 months old, meat begins to enter his world, not as a hunter's prize, but as a gift carried back by the pride. A strip of flesh warm in the dust teaches him that life here is taken from life. But milk still matters. He may nurse for around 6 months, half a year of growing bone, muscle, teeth, and instinct. At first he plays, he bites at tails, he wrestles with his siblings, he pounces badly, misses often, and tumbles into the grass with clumsy paws. It looks gentle. It is not. Every playful attack is practice. Every chase between cubs is a lesson in balance, timing, and strength. The games of childhood are preparing him for the violence of adulthood. But the Savanna does not wait for practice to become skill. One evening, the pride moves. The cub follows, small legs working hard beneath him. The adults glide through the grass with silent power, but he stumbles, pauses, and falls behind. That is when the air changes. A sound rises from the edge of the dusk. Hyenas. For a cub, the distance between safety and death may be only a few yards of open ground. His mother turns. The pride tightens. The cub freezes, pressed low into the grass as shapes move beyond the fading light. He has survived milk, heat, and hunger, but now he must learn the hardest lesson of all. In the Savanna, being born a lion does not mean the world is afraid of you. Not yet. The day comes when the pride no longer feels like home. The cub is not small now. His shoulders have widened. His paws are heavy. His face has sharpened. Around his neck, the first dark shadow of a mane begins to rise. Not yet a crown, but a warning. He is no longer just a cub, and that is the problem. In a lion pride, young males carry the future inside their bodies, but they also carry danger. By the time he is around 2 to 3 years old, the same family that protected him begins to push him away. The mothers who once fed him now snap when he comes too close. The dominant males watch him differently. The message is older than memory. Go. So he walks, past the sleeping lionesses, past the place where he first tasted meat, past the grass where he once played, without understanding that every game had been training him for exile. The savanna opens in front of him. It is enormous, and for the first time, it does not belong to anyone who will protect him. A young male lion without a pride is not a king. He is a shadow between territories, too large to be a cub, too unproven to be a ruler. He may travel with a brother or another young male, but even together, hunger follows them like a second body. A full-grown male may one day reach more than 400 pounds, heavier than 2 grown men. But right now, size alone does not feed him. Strength alone does not keep him alive. He must learn to hunt without the easy cover of the pride. He must learn where hyenas gather. He must learn which buffalo are too dangerous, which zebras are too fast, which wounded animals may still kill with a single kick. One afternoon, hunger drives him toward a herd of wildebeest. The wind is wrong. The herd senses him before he is close enough. In a sudden explosion of hooves and dust, the animals scatter. He charges, muscles burning, claws tearing the dry earth, but the distance is too wide. The chase is over in seconds. His chest heaves, his mouth hangs open, and the empty grass seems to stretch forever. This is the cruel truth of his rise. He was born into power, but he must earn the right to use it. Night after night, he grows harder, leaner, more patient. His mane thickens, his roar deepens, and somewhere beyond the dark, another male rules a pride that will not be his forever. The young lion has survived as a ghost. Now he stands at the edge of becoming something the whole savanna will hear. Before sunrise, his roar crosses the savanna. It moves through the cold grass, over termite mounds, across sleeping herds, and into the darkness where rival males are listening. This is no longer the thin call of a wanderer. This is a claim. By now his mane is full, dark around the face, thick across the shoulders. It makes him look larger than he already is, a living shadow of muscle, scars, and heat. He has reached the season every male lion is built for, the season of power. He may weigh more than 400 pounds now, heavier than 2 grown men, but his body is more than weight. It is weapon, warning, and shield. With another male beside him, perhaps a brother from the exile years, he challenges the rulers of a pride. The fight is not clean. It is dust, teeth, claws, and roaring, so deep it seems to shake the ground. One mistake can tear open a face. One bite can break a future. But in the savanna, territory is never given. It is taken. When the old rulers retreat, everything changes. The lionesses remain cautious. The cubs watch from the grass. The land itself seems to hold its breath. He has become what the tiny cub in the hidden nursery could never have imagined, a pride male. But kingship is not rest. It is patrol. It is hunger. It is the endless work of defending what others want. He walks the borders of his territory, rubbing his scent into bushes, scraping the ground, roaring into the night. A lion's roar can carry for miles across open land, farther than the eye can follow in darkness. That sound tells the world one thing: this place is taken. But power also brings legacy. In time, cubs are born in the pride again. Small, blind, helpless bodies, hidden in grass as he once was. They carry his blood into the next season of life. He does not raise them like their mother does. The lionesses feed them, guard them, guide them. But his presence matters. His strength holds rival males away. His roar helps keep the boundary between the cubs and death. For a while the savanna bends around him. Zebras scatter when he rises. Hyenas wait until he is fed. Rivals answer from a safer distance. Yet even at the height of his strength, time is already working beneath the skin. A scar stiffens, a tooth chips, a chase lasts a little less than before. He is still king. But the grass has begun to whisper the truth every ruler must face. No crown in the wild is held forever. The old lion walks alone at the edge of a dry riverbed. The sun is low and the grass around him is the color of bone. Once, his mane moved like a dark flame in the wind. Now it is torn, dusty and thinned by years of heat, teeth, and battle. Scars cross his face like old rivers across cracked earth. He is still massive, still dangerous, but the savanna can feel the change. His steps are slower now. His shoulders do not rise with the same power. The distance between hunger and food has grown longer than it used to be. A younger lion can explode from the grass with the force of a storm. An old lion must choose carefully. Every chase costs more. Every wound heals slower. Every night carries the sound of rivals drawing closer. For years, his roar pushed other males away. Now, when he calls into the dark, the answer comes back stronger. Two younger males have entered the edge of his territory. Their manes are thick. Their bodies are full of fresh muscle. They move with the terrible confidence of animals who have not yet learned what time will take from them. The old lion stands. His legs tremble only slightly. He has defended this land, fed on this land, fathered cubs in this land. His scent is still on the thorn bushes. His tracks are still pressed into the dust. But ownership in the wild is never permanent. The challenge comes near dawn. There is no glory in it. Only the ancient law of bodies meeting bodies. Roars break open the morning, dust rises. Claws strike, teeth flash. For a moment, the old power returns, fierce and unforgettable. He is not young, but he is still a lion. Then the weight of years comes back. His breath shortens. His muscles fail to answer quickly enough. The younger males press forward, and the old king gives ground. Not because he wants to, because nature has already decided. By afternoon, he is beyond the pride's border. The lionesses remain behind. The cubs remain hidden. The territory he once filled with his voice now belongs to others. He moves toward the shade of an acacia tree, each step slower than the last. In his final days, the savanna does not rage around him. It simply continues. Antelope graze in the distance. Vultures circle on warm air. Beetles move through the soil beneath his paws. The wind bends the grass the same way it did on the night he was born. And when his body finally grows still, the story does not end. Insects come first, then scavengers. Then the soil takes what remains. The strength that once shook the night becomes food for grass. The grass feeds the herds. The herds feed the lions still to come. He was born as 3 pounds of breath in the darkness. He became hunger, muscle, thunder, father, rival, king. And at last, he becomes the savanna again. Thank you for exploring the wild with melodic realms. Subscribe for more journeys into the heart of nature.